Hello, students. Welcome back. This time we are going to go through a little bit of my process for starting up the color ribbon project. So, as we go through to start this, I'm going to have a little bit of drawing and then we'll move into doing a little bit of painting for the first two uh, strips of color on our color ribbon. So, here we go. A little bit of speed drawing. You saw some slower movements. That's me going through and kind of getting the general size of this. Um, the overall look of this, I kind of looked at a bunch of different references, kind of synthesized those together, um, tried to figure out. So this pen drawing is pretty light. I'm not really trying to do the whole entire drawing like this. I'm going to go back over it with a brush pen in just a second. And here we go. So this is me going over that pen drawing with brush pen. The brush pen's a little bit bolder, obviously easier for you to see. I enjoy drawing with it because it has a nice fine tip. So I'm just kind of redrawing that, going down, getting the teeth. And the concept of this is I'm going to have this dragon, his mouth's open, and then as it moves forward, his tongue comes out and turns into a waterfall of colors. So that's the concept that I'm going with as I go through and put all this together. So working on the mouth and the teeth, chin for a bit here. Start working our way up. Then I started with a different pattern here. It's one of the images that had kind of like a different kind of thing going on around the corners of the mouth, so I like that. So I went for that. Here we're going to plug in the eyes. I'm not completely satisfied with how the eyes look right now, so I think I am going to change those as I paint some of this in. But what I want to show you is part of your ribbon project could be something that's completely not related to the actual painting of those strips of color. So this is definitely that kind of thing. I'm drawing this. I could leave it as a drawing. I don't have to paint this. I think I'm going to paint parts of it at least, just to kind of make it feel like it's part of the whole picture. But for the most part, this is just to kind of have some fun, kind of set up a theme for everything else. At least that's what it is in my mind. So setting up some scales over here on the left side, and this dragon's head's popping up and then the waterfall is spilling out. I'm not going to outline the whole waterfall in this drawing, because if I were to do that, I'd just be painting over a lot of it anyway. So leaving the dragon as the drawing, and then the waterfall is going to be painted. And outlining things makes things look flat anyway. So here's my kind of where we're going for our final on the left, and those are some of my references there on the right side. So we're going to start off with the blue, and what I recommend doing, this is sped up, is I am going to do a wash first. So here I'm finding the first strip. In this case, I'm doing the strip on the far right side, and I've got a very watery blue. I believe this is a cobalt blue. And notice that I'm kind of pulling some of the paint out and even adding some extra water in some spots. So the waterfall comes down from his mouth and then starts swirling and swishing back and forth. So I am just filling in every bit of the area that I want to have to be blue with a wash. So a wash means that you are doing a thinned out watery blue. And so I'm washing that entire strip. And the idea is it makes a lot of sense, and it's very good for you and easy to go through and do a wash and figure out your first strip of color before you go through and do all the rest of the painting. It wouldn't make sense to do this with all my colors at the same time. I'm thinking about the light coming from the top right of my picture, so that's why I was doing that directional move. And as a consequence, the things that turn underneath and are down to the left are going to get darker. So now I have a darker blue, and I'm trying to add some shadows to what I'm started with. So I'm going to build this up in a couple different layers. Then we'll go through and start to paint some of the light, and then we'll come back and do a little bit of the shadows again at the end. But see how I'm going over these parts a couple times, making them darker, trying to get those so that they line up. And they feel watery. They're kind of flowing over, and then they hit some rocks, they kind of splashing around. That's what I'm going for. We'll see how well I can pull it off. So far, I like it for the most part. It seems to be working how I'm planning it out. So there's that. And I think that's it for the shadow. Hitting a couple more spots, just a little dark for a second. And then we're going to switch over to the lights. So here I'm grabbing some white. And I'm kind of going for an average light. I'm going to start painting on top of my wash. So this whole area up here, where it spills out of his mouth and faces up to the right side and then hits the ground and comes out, that I feel like faces the light. The little corner where it swooshes around, I think it does. Maybe a little bit on the flat part in the middle. And then as it comes over to the edge, I feel like it also does that. So we have another little area that faces up towards the light before it kind of spills down again. And then I'm being a little bit more interpretive down at the bottom because it's kind of splashing on the rocks and different things. So I'm being a little more loose and just kind of letting it flow in different kind of like loops. So now I'm adding more white. And so what I'm trying to do is get in a little bit closer. And instead of painting the whole area that I just painted, now I'm kind of moving in from the top edge and moving in from the bottom edge. So I'm making the area that I'm painting a little smaller each time as I kind of start to work my way towards the highlights. So I'm going to do this probably another 2 times, if not 3, where I paint it down, move in a little bit closer towards my highlights, and paint that area. So you're moving in from, the areas where the shadows are, you're moving towards that highlight and just painting the smaller area. And we'll be doing some of this in class this week to show you how to put those together. So here's a little bit more of that. Yeah. So notice that I mix some more white, make it a little bit lighter, and I'm painting a smaller area each time as I get towards the highlight. In my last one, when I get to the very highlight, I'm going to use, I think, pretty much just straight white. Only the blue that is on my brush already is going to stay. Everything else is just going to be white. So here I go. I'm grabbing that, but I'm mostly just using that, and now it's just a teeny little highlight there, teeny little highlight up top, some little small areas, and that's about it for what I want to accomplish as far as this strip of blue. But the advantage is now I have my idea for what this is going to look like, and I can start to apply this light concept to the other strips of color. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to switch over and how I've got a speed paint of green. So another wash. This wash is with green. Then I'm putting in the shadows again, going through, getting all that in, darkening it down when it drops or moves away from the light. Then could go over the shadows a couple times to make them pretty dark. Now we'll start to add the white We'll start to find the light areas that face up towards the light. That's good. Let's mix some more white in there, make a lighter value. Each time I'm moving and painting a smaller area as it moves towards that highlight. And so those kind of really start to match up between the blue and the green. So I think that's about it. I'm touching up some shadows again one time at the end. Here are our two colors. We'll see you for the next video.